The PlayStation 1, home to so many different games, RPGs being the top dog, but second place is definitely survival horror. Survival horror just took off in the mid-late 90s when this era of games came out, and there were a lot of games in this genre. It was a new and exciting genre into a couple years of the PlayStation 1 lifespan, and it pretty much is just action-adventure gameplay, but you're kind of limited on health resources and get spooked here and there by some scary stuff. I personally never played these games until I was an adult, because I was a child in the 90s, so I definitely would have been too scared. Over the years though, I've played a lot of horror games on the PlayStation, and today we're going to talk about 10 games that you definitely should check out and play if you're a PlayStation 1 connoisseur, or just looking for some horror games you never heard of and want to check out something new. These are North America as well as a little bit of Japan and PAL regions. No, this is my personal list, not the best of or anything like that. These are just ones that I definitely think you should check out if you're into this stuff. Sit back, relax. Let's talk about 10 survival horror games you must play on the original PlayStation. Kicking off this list, you probably already guessed it, it's the game that defined survival horror, and that is Resident Evil 1. How could you not have a Resident Evil game on this list? It's literally the game series that defined the genre, and everyone loves this game series that's played it. The opening FMV cutscene is laughable, but still pretty cool to watch even today. And just exploring the mansion. I just love a mansion in games. You know, spooky mansion like in this one, going down corridors, killing zombies, and solving puzzles. The second and third game are spectacular, and they definitely improve on the formula. I wanted to mention the first game though, because I mean this game is an experience and I feel like it's a bucket list game for sure. Play either one of them, 1, 2, or 3. You don't have to start with the first game if you don't want to, but if you want to see the two characters like Chris and Jill you get to play as, how they have differences and stuff, see all the spooky stuff in this game and the puzzles, definitely check out Resident Evil. We also have to mention Silent Hill, which is the other big survival horror series other than Resident Evil people know about. Silent Hill on the original PlayStation is an awesome game. If you've never played this game, this is also just like Resident Evil, but a little bit different on the approach because it's more of a psychological horror, more than your zombies and stuff. You got a whole town to explore, and it's all in fog in the background, and you can't see up ahead all the way. It's just ominous, and it truly feels like a really horror, scary kind of game. Playing as Harry Mason, you just experience a lot of different weird stuff in this game, and you'll really be kind of looking back at, man, what did I just get through? It's a shame this game is still kind of stuck on the console, other than being on the PS3 digital store. That's about really it. I hope one day Konami can bring this game back in some way possible. If you want to see where Silent Hill started, you gotta check out the first one on the original PlayStation. You want a survival horror game with dinosaurs? Well, that exists. It's called Dino Crisis. Also made by Capcom like Resident Evil. I remember seeing this game for rent all the time at the rental store whenever I was a kid, but I couldn't play it because it was a rated M game, and my mom's like, no, you don't want to play that. You're playing as this chick and all these crazy things are happening, and it turns out there's dinosaurs among you, and they are not messing around. I personally have not beaten these games, but I do plan to someday when I find the time, because these games are really cool, and I can see why a lot of people like this series. It's kind of a surprise these games haven't been remade yet, because you see all the Resident Evil remakes we keep getting, and people are definitely out there wanting Dino Crisis remakes, but they're not happening. So if you want to play these games, definitely best to play them on the original PlayStation, or Dreamcast, or PC if you'd rather go those routes. Nonetheless, check out the Dino Crisis series. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, kind of a late release for the PS1. It came out in 2001, but nonetheless, it's more survival horror action of the same series. The game takes place on Halloween, and you get to play as two different characters in this game, Edward Carnby or Aline, and they do have some gameplay differences, which is also nice. Nothing really revolutionary with this game, honestly, but the game itself is pretty fun to play, and it's got a very creepy, dark atmosphere, which I like. It looks pretty detailed for a game in 2001, even though it is still fixed cameras, which is kind of getting out of date at this point, but still, nonetheless, if you're used to the classic tank controls and all the survival horror games you've played, Alone in the Dark and The New Nightmare is a very good game to play, and of course, this is also on Dreamcast too, so no matter how you play it, check this one out. The Nightmare Creatures series is definitely a series I've known about since I was a kid, but of course I couldn't play it whenever I was younger, so here I am talking about it now. And to be honest, the game is pretty fun. There's a lot of beat 'em up hack and slash action going on in this game, but you do have some survival horror elements, getting around the levels, keeping alive, and killing all these creepy looking monsters. There's two different characters you can choose in this game, the guy or the girl, and they both play differently a little bit, but nonetheless, this game is very arcade-like on how it plays, where you beat a level and move on to the next. I like how this game plays. Yeah, it's definitely a little outdated, but it's still pretty fun with the tank controls even. Nice to see that it's not always Japan making survival horror games. Definitely check this game out if you like what you see. Clock Tower is a game that I actually played on the Super Nintendo first, playing an English patch there since we never got the game in North America. The game did debut in North America on the PlayStation, but technically it's like the second or third game in the series. This game is pretty much a point-and-click survival horror game. You don't really get to move your character with the D-pad or anything. You actually point away and tell them where to go. Kind of a cool gameplay approach. You start off as this old man, and then you eventually play as the main character, the girl, in this first scenario, and the game is honestly quite good. It kind of takes the slasher film role, and Scissor Man is the main villain in this, where he's killing everybody, you gotta run away from him and find clues and solve puzzles. Clock Tower is truly a unique game on this system, so if you want to see a survival horror game done in a different way, you need to check out this series. It's quite good. Galerians is definitely a very strange game and a very cool survival horror game where it's involving the future and psychic powers instead. You play as this teenager named Rion, and you're in this hospital where people are doing experiments on you, and you get out of there and you try to find out what the hell is going on. You want to find out why you're there, and you try to break out of the hospital, and you go on to see other people that you know that have psychic powers too, and that's the big gimmick with this game is instead of having guns and stuff, you use psychic powers, but there's a cost because there's an AP meter that will go up a lot as you do that. The AP meter goes up over time, and you can kill enemies faster when you go into crazy mode, but you'll also drain health, so you gotta watch out for that and use meds if needed. This game is a lot of fun. Nothing too groundbreaking, but it's a really cool game and a cool story too. It's definitely different than the other games on this list, so if you want to see something kind of unique on the console that's not just scary zombies and stuff, definitely give Galerians a go. It's a good time.
Don't let him get away! I found him!
Echo Knight was brought to us by From Software, the same boys who did Kingsfield as well as Armored Core, and you know those Souls-like games that everyone likes today. You're in a first-person view, and you go around looking at stuff at first, and you kind of just see more backstory of what's going on, because it has a slow start to it to the game, and honestly, I'm not hating this game. This game is actually really cool. You get on this boat like you do here, and you go around the boat, and there's these creepy doll ghost things that can hurt you, and you talk to these ghosts who have some horrible past going on, and you relive their past, and you try to fix them. It's a really interesting game here, and honestly probably one of the most unique games on this list. Well, I guess all these games are unique in some way, but this game is really cool how they did it. Not to mention, this game looks really good for a game in 1998. This game does have a trilogy from the PS1 to the PS2. We only got the first game and the third game technically on PS2, but if you like what you see and you like From Software games, you should definitely give this a try. Chaos Break, a game that came out only in Japan as well as PAL regions back in the day. North America did not get this one. This game on the surface kind of copies a little bit what Resident Evil does in terms of like the plot and the characters, but nonetheless, the gameplay is kind of its own. It's a third-person shooter, but definitely is a survival horror game to its core, because you go around and you kill all these alien-looking little creature things, and you go and solve clues on what's going on. You're in this research facility trying to see what's going on here and trying to find any comrades who are trapped. It's very fast-paced action with shooting, as well as you can punch, so it's got some beat 'em up to it. This game's got some cool puzzles in it, and it's got a cool horror atmosphere and definitely gets the job done in that category. This one's not a cheap game though, especially the PAL region copy. That one goes for hundreds of dollars. If you want to play a good horror game on the PlayStation that's a little bit more fast-paced than the usual suspects, I definitely would say Chaos Break is a good go. Hellnight. Now that's a damn game title, brought to us by Atlas, but only came out in Japan as well as PAL regions like Chaos Break. It takes place in like an alternate Tokyo back in the late 90s when this game came out, and you play as this girl and you're on this train, but you get derailed off into the underground and you go to this dark Tokyo, and there's these monsters everywhere and you gotta stay away from them, and it's all in a first-person view. This one is a really cool game. You go around all these tunnels, you gotta find your way out, but also not get hurt. You find these different rooms, which are kind of like a point-and-click style approach, and you'll find keys as well as items, and it's just a really good time. I really wish we got this game in North America because this is such a cool game. It's really a shame we never got this game. I mean, we got Persona 1 and 2, so I mean, I don't understand why we didn't get this game. This game truly is kind of scary too when you have the soundbar on and hearing that monster, you know, he could be close, he could be around the corner, you never know. You just got to keep running and get past him. You got to have more survival horror action in a first-person view. You can't go wrong with Hellnight. And there you have it. Those are 10 survival horror games that you definitely should check out on the PlayStation 1 at some point in time, one way or another. I don't know about you guys, but I can play a horror game really at any time of the year, despite it being October currently. I just have a fun time chilling with the dark, ominous music in these games and just finding puzzles and seeing bad guys running away, and it's just a thrill and I love it. With all that being said, what are some survival horror games that you think are must-plays on the PlayStation 1, or just good survival horror games from this era? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking around all the way to the end. Until next time, y'all take it easy.